How's it going, everybody? Adrian here from the Gaming Observer, and welcome back to your daily news update for Wednesday, September the 9th. I hope you're having a tremendous day. We have tons of news, so let's get into it. Okay, so in the middle of the night last night, Xbox officially announced the Xbox Series S. This is going to be a second next-generation console, arriving alongside the already announced Series X. And this device has been rumored for a very long time. The announcement just got spurred by a leak, which is also why it came in the middle of the night. So here are the things that you want to know about this console. First of all, it is going to be $300 American, which makes it a much cheaper alternative to the reported $500 price point of the Series X. That $500 isn't officially announced, but it comes from the same sources that leaked this one. And I think that's going to make a lot of people happy. Having a $300 option for next generation, that's tough to beat. The console is also all digital, meaning it has no disk drive, and that sort of acts as a successor to the Xbox One S all digital edition. And you know, with services like the Game Pass, this has just become far less of an issue. But if you are a collector or you like your physical media, make sure you're not getting the Series S. Interestingly, it is also the smallest Xbox ever made, apparently 60% smaller than the Series X. And if you are interested in the tech specs, then I do encourage you to check them out. At the very basics here, 1440p at up to 120 frames per second. It's got ray tracing, it's got a custom 512GB SSD, and about 4 teraflops. From what I've heard, the tech specs of this console are going to be similar to the Xbox One X of this generation, whereas the Series X, which is $500, will be like the best tech that they can offer. Either way, both the Series S and the Series X are expected to launch on November 10th, and they are also going to offer financing options. So you can pay $25 or $35 a month instead of the full upfront cost, and that's offered worldwide. Any other leftover questions you might have are going to be probably answered with more details coming in the future. Very interesting announcement, and I'm looking forward to how this console plays out. In another out-of-the-blue announcement, Nintendo has just announced a brand new Zelda game called Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. This is going to be a new entry in the Hyrule Warriors series, and, probably what you're most interested in, it is going to be a prequel to Breath of the Wild. So it is developed by Koei Tecmo, who made the Hyrule Warriors game, and it takes place 100 years before the events of Breath of the Wild. And if you are unfamiliar with Hyrule Warriors, it's a little unique. Essentially, it is a Zelda-themed Dynasty Warriors. The core gameplay loop is the player fighting hordes of enemies, kind of hack-and-slash style. And of course, it's Zelda, so you're also going to be solving puzzles and unlocking skills and weapons. However, this is definitely worth treating as like a spin-off, a la Cadence of Hyrule. That being said, Age of Calamity is not going to interfere with the Breath of the Wild sequel that was announced last year. That's still being developed. Instead, it is arriving on their own on the Nintendo Switch on November 20th. So just a few months away. Very, very exciting announcement. I think people didn't see this coming at all, but it'll fit in nicely into their 2020 schedule. There is a game that has been seeing a major resurgence in recent weeks. It's called Among Us, and it is a social deduction game set in space. Kind of like Secret Hitler or Mafia or Werewolf or Project Winter. So it's so popular, in fact, that this past weekend, the developers mentioned that they hit 1.5 million concurrent online users across all of their platforms. 1.5 million. For a tiny team on a game that hasn't seen major traffic in the last year and a half, that's a big deal. Now, the reason why the game has gotten so popular is largely thanks to Twitch streamers, because, you know, this genre of video games is pretty popular there, but Among Us in particular is really well suited for streaming because it's got a short playtime and it's super simple to understand. So if you are interested in checking it out, the game plays really well with a group of friends, but you can also matchmake solo. It is pay what you want on itch.io, $5 on Steam, and it's free on mobile with full crossplay across all of those. It is a very fun game to watch. I do encourage you to check it out. Maybe if you have a content creator that has been playing it. Anyway, folks, that is going to wrap us up for today. Like I said, a pretty big day for news. 2 major announcements there. And hopefully we keep it coming when I come back tomorrow with the news once again. Thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, happy gaming, everyone. How's it going, everybody? TGO After-Show. You know, it's my worst nightmare when I wake up in the morning and I see an announcement or a news item that is not on the main show. Because, you know, I record the show in the evening of every day with the intention that you're going to listen to it the next morning. If you've ever noticed that the dates are sometimes a little off depending on when you're listening to it, that would be why. But you know, that's because I can't really get up at 5 in the morning to do a news show. And most of the time, there isn't any news in that period anyway. Usually, when you listen to this show, you're getting the most recent news. You're not missing out on much. Until you have a situation like today, where I record a show at 7 p.m.-ish, and then they make an announcement at 4 in the morning. Then all of a sudden, you're waking up and you're not hearing the latest news. I hate that. But hey, what can you do, right? Anyway, so I actually played some video games today. And I got around to a game that I've been meaning to play and wanting to play for a very long time. You might have heard of it. It's called Nier Automata. It's a very popular Platinum Games game. And I've got to say, that prologue that they have is incredibly good. They have like a 30-minute prologue. But then you know what happened is, you know, they don't have an autosave in this game, and they make that very clear at the beginning. But I got to the final boss of the prologue, because there's a few kind of big guys that you fight in there. And I died. I got totally wrecked. And then that put me all the way back to the beginning of the prologue. 30 minutes gone. And listen, I usually have pretty bad patience when it comes to video games. You know, something like Dark Souls, where you literally do have all of your progress reset. Not even if you fail, literally if you just go to a save point or a healing point. I lose a lot of patience for that. But what I was reading was that A, Nier Automata is worth it, and B, it gets a little better once you get past the prologue. And also, I think I was missing a core aspect of the game that I just didn't explore. Like, basically, I treated the prologue as me mashing the X button all the way through, when actually there was like an inventory system that I should have been using. Nonetheless, I started this game. I don't have the intention of finishing it, just like every other game I've been playing. But if it does hook me, I would love to. Mostly when it comes to these games, I've really just been wanting to play it so that I know about it. I feel like I'm so in the dark on so many games that literally just being able to have the game in my hands for a few hours without even the intention of finishing it, it's just a good way for me to be able to come onto this show and talk in an educated way about these games. Instead of going, I've never heard about this, but here's a new announcement, a new sequel, or whatever. Anyway, let me know if you've played Nier, and if I should be worried about the future, because I will say I don't like this whole non-autosave thing. Anyway, folks, I'll keep you updated. Until next time, farewell.